Hello scrappers and planet lovers, Tin Man here with another video. So today what I want to do is talk about skillets, griddles, and the heating regulator cord that comes from them. The nice thing about these items is that I can find them from time to time on garbage day, and they can be an excellent source of scrap material. Each one of them weighs about 2 pounds 3/4, and they are mainly made of cast aluminum. Currently in London, Ontario, clean cast aluminum is going for about 90 cents a pound Canadian, so an excellent price. However, each one of these, if I was to bring them in as is, I am going to get downgraded to dirty cast aluminum, which is about 15 to 20 cents a pound. And that's because each one of these does have a type of heating element or heating coil that runs along the base. And some of these can be very easy to take out to upgrade this to clean cast. So I'm going to do that for you today, show you some tips and tricks, not only how to separate the metals, identify them properly, but more importantly, how to maximize your profit and divert as much of this away from the landfill as possible. So I do also want to mention that I don't like storing these up for long. They do sometimes have some sticky substance, a smell that can definitely entice rodents. So I do break them up, get them out as quick as I can. But I do, as mentioned, find them often. And some of them, if I was to show two models here, some of them are harder to take apart than others. This one, you can see the coil that is exposed. This one, however, there is the aluminum that is covering that coil. So this one is going to be a lot harder to take apart. And what I've actually done for this one is a small experiment. You can see the cut there that I've begun. So what I'm going to do later is I am going to cut this coil out. I'm going to weigh this aluminum and see how much of a difference, if it was worth cutting or not, or just leaving this as dirty cast. And I will include, because I am not going to finish this whole part in my video, but I will include final weights for it. I don't do this if they are covered like this. I just bring them in as dirty cast. But again, it could be worth it for you. I do have to factor in grinding discs and time. But again, this is strictly for educational purposes, and different scrappers use different methods as well as different sorting. So again, I will put that on there, so stay tuned. These ones, however, because these coils are exposed, well worth my time and effort. So I'm gonna do that right now. I do also have to make sure that I remove the plastic sides, because if I don't, that is also going to make me get downgraded. So a couple screws in there, that's all it is. So the only waste on this griddle here is just going to be this handle, a little bit of plastic. And this one, I will say, I could feel the food debris on there. You can see it glistening there. So again, going to go to the scrap yard in a couple days anyway, so glad to get this out. But all I'm actually going to do here is take a type of, what do you call these things? This is just a quick grip, a vise, if you will, works too. But just going to actually secure this to my workbench. And all I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to use leverage, and I'm just going to pop this coil outwards. Okay, just using a flathead screwdriver, or sometimes I just use a pry bar like this, and I'm just going to work all the way around the side, just pulling this up. I do also want to mention, it is non-magnetic on most of it. There are a few pieces just at the tip that are magnetic, but I actually will throw this heating element into dirty stainless steel if there is a magnetic attraction. It's going for about 20 cents a pound. The stainless steel, if this is non-magnetic, about 60, 70 cents a pound. So do want to make sure that I separate it, but unfortunately, and someone is going to say, well, that's pretty good for stainless steel, and you're absolutely right. However, because it would be mixed, I would get the dirty cast aluminum. I know I've also had some conversations with other fellow scrappers who've said, well, why don't you just throw it right into your stainless and get dirty stainless? Dirty stainless, again, just like dirty cast, downgraded completely. I think about 15 to 20 cents for that as well. So well worth my time and effort to separate it. It's not worth just leaving it for stainless steel. So hopefully that answered that question, but very simple. Just going to start using leverage here. I might actually just have to start popping it up using my bench. There you go. It's already started. And now I'm just going to feed a screwdriver underneath this groove. So you can see that it is working. Look at that. Okay, so there are a few spots where it's clamped. Okay, so there's a few spots where it's going to be a little bit trickier than others, but it's not impossible to do. Okay, so there we go. And I would say the corners are going to be the hardest to do. As soon as I get around the corner, it's pretty smooth sailing, if you will. Okay, but you just got to get this underneath. And again, just using leverage. There we go. Watch that. Hopefully you can see that. There we go. I'll get out of your way. The camera angle. So again, just prying this under. It's not hard to do. Okay, but there you go. I got one little corner here. Once I get past this corner, should be smooth sailing. There we go. You can see it now. I'm just going to actually pop it up like that. It's just going to uncoil. Okay, so there we go. And I'll start this one too, just to show you. There we go. Okay, so pop this underneath. And I have had some of them that do break, unfortunately. It does depend on the clamp. Sometimes they get bent, okay? But the other thing is with this is it's just a little bit of patience. Okay, you're gonna move this just to the side. I'm gonna actually use the vise here to work for me. Okay, but I want to make sure that I get the angle right. Okay, so again, just using leverage all the way down. There's my next pin. Okay, so there we go. Okay, and I'm not going to do this whole thing, you get the idea. Okay, but it's just using leverage and my bench. Okay, but I got it underneath that prong. And what I could also try to do is just using a hammer. I'm going to see if I can just slide a hammer underneath that. Okay, so the problem with that, you can see that white smoke, is if I don't get underneath it, I am running the risk of puncturing that open, okay, the coil, and it does create a small little mess, okay, but there we go, okay, pretty easy to do. There we go, just again, hopefully you can see that, just going underneath this, just a little pry bar, so it's a lot easier now. Okay, and again, once I get to the corner, it will be just a little bit of pause to it, but very, very simple to do. So it's nice, this is just folding right in my hands. There we go. Right around the bend, here we go, around the bend. Okay, and like I said, I'm just gonna leave this as is, you get the idea, but nice, clean, gonna be clean cast as soon as I'm done with this. Okay, there we go. So that was very easy to do, as mentioned. Okay, this is now gonna become clean cast. Okay, it's okay about this little bit of food residue on it. They're not gonna penalize me for that. But again, gonna upgrade this to 90 cents a pound. So that's awesome for that one. It is going to be the same technique for this. Just once I get around this little corner, it will speed up. The other thing that you could do is if there was a small little crimp that was pinched, you could actually just grind it with the grinder just to release that pressure on there, and it will easily slide out. But again, great way to upgrade these. You can see this one too has a little bit of food residue, but good cast aluminum. Last thing I want to look at are the heat regulators, and what I love about these is they do have a really nice cord to them. This cord right here is actually going to be classified as 40% appliance wire, and currently in London, Ontario, going for $1.90 a pound, so an excellent price. I do also want to show the tip. This is magnetic, so this is going to be magnetic stainless steel. I get about 17 cents a pound for this. Okay, but I'm going to open one just to show you what's inside. I've always been curious, but what's cool about these is look inside of that. there is a little bit of my cord still as well. But this also has a little bit of silver, okay? So just gonna quickly pull off this knob here so I can get this off. Pull this off, there we go. So the knob slides off. There is my regulator apparatus. A little bit of brass on there, so I will cut that off. But there is right on the bottom here, just gonna show you, there's gonna be right there, that little smudge that you see there, that is actually a silver contact. There's two of them. There's one on this side too, right there. So those are just like you find on circuit boards, the little relay boxes, a little bit of silver. If you're into micro scrapping, what I do is I will actually cut off this little spot right here with the dot, put it into a small vial for later silver recovery. Haven't done that yet. I need a lot more to actually do the experiment, but it all does add up for sure. This also, I want to make sure I get all of this coil off of here. And there is right here, just going to get my file inside of it. I want to just put a file to it. A little bit of brass on the connector there. That brass right there going for $3.45 a pound. So I just cut this piece off, put it in with my prongs. It all adds up. As well, I do want to say with these cords, some people do leave these prongs on for the weight. I do pull those off, put them into my brass bucket. So it does depend on the scrapper or the type of scrapping you do, as well as prices. Right now with brass being our scrapper silver, it does add up for sure. This one does not have regular screws. So I do have a type of LP security set that I often use. So it's got that little nub inside of it. I don't need the nub for this, but this has been used for not only these styles of bolts, but a lot of your items like microwaves, they will use these types of bolts in there with the little nubs. Just the manufacturers want to keep people out and safe. So you do want to make sure that you have a set. In my opinion, they've paid for themselves many times over, but just going to open up another one just to show you the same method, same makeup. But these regulators, I often do look at them. I have had several collected, and finally just getting to the video on that. Again, really nice appliance cord on these. Okay, want to make sure I get that. So this one again, there are a few. Look at that. This is going to be, looks like copper. So don't be fooled. You do have to scratch it to see, which I'm going to do. And it does reveal copper. Sometimes it's just a coating. So if I scratch that and I've revealed the gold underneath, it's brass. But this is actually copper. So this little piece here, going to be number 2 copper right now. Currently going for $5.39 a pound. So I want to make sure I pull that off. Okay, you never know what you're going to find in different styles and different ones that manufacturers make. But 2 of these prongs, copper. All this wire, going to be 40% appliance wire. Make sure I get those prongs off as well. And the head, again, this is going to be dirty stainless, so about 17 cents a pound. And with dirty stainless steel, it does depend. I often talk about dirty stainless on barbecues, putting a magnet to it and it sticks. 17 cents a pound. It does depend on how much you have. If I only have 5 regulators like I do here, or 4 regulators, I'm not going to drive to a different spot in my scrapyard just for some dirty stainless. I could put it off into a bucket. Once I find a larger item like a barbecue and it's dirty, then I could put it there with that. So it does again depend on how much I have, but you can upgrade, maximize your profit by putting this into dirty stainless, magnetic stainless steel. Okay, so barbecues, if you put a magnet to it and it does not stick, that's your good stainless steel. That currently going for about 75 to 77 cents a pound. So do want to check those for sure. And I will put in my link how to separate barbecues, cast aluminum, stainless steel, magnetic stainless, tin. If you're interested, go check that out, because a lot of these videos can be interchanged and the information is the same when you're scrapping. So again, some regulators, open them up, get out that copper if it's in there, definitely the brass. These 2, as mentioned, does have the silver that's going to be under that small little prong there. But again, these skillets, griddles, very easy to take apart. I will, as mentioned earlier, go ahead and cut out the rest of this heating coil, which would make just this upper part cast aluminum. So I am going to do it for this video to show you. It will probably use one of my grinding discs, but I do not do this for my own benefit or own gain. When I'm scrapping, I would just throw this right into dirty cast. So again, I will put it in the comment section, the final weight of those, just for educational purposes. But hope you enjoyed that. Again, very easy to upgrade those if the heating coil is exposed. Just use leverage, pry it out, and get that clean cast aluminum. So thanks again for watching. I do also appreciate the feedback, the comments, questions that I've been getting. Tons of new beginner scrappers have really joined the force or joined the market because of prices as well as monetary value. And you know, nice thing is too, I also have to look at environmentally. You know, the more people out, yes, it decreases the items on the curb for us as scrappers, but it does reduce the items going to the landfill on a whole. So that's great as well. So please, again, thank you for the questions, comments, support. Please comment down below, like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Tin Man out.